Hi and welcome to the Happiness Safari podcast. My name is Nadine. I'm a Bikram yoga teacher and a certified happiness life coach, and I help digital nomads to create the exact life they want. In my 10 weeks coaching program, I help you to make a plan for your life by setting your goals and creating a vision. After we look at your limiting beliefs and ways to change them, I give you simple tools how you can control your emotions and fulfill your 6 human needs in the best possible way. Today on the podcast, I speak to Lisa. Lisa was born and raised in Germany. In 2015, she and her husband decided to leave their normal life behind and started traveling with their 2 dogs by hiking from Germany to Sweden. After 5 years of traveling and living in a van, they settled down in South Portugal and are now living off-grid and mainly self-sustaining. Lisa is a certified yoga teacher, reiki practitioner, and spiritual life coach. Lisa speaks about her outer and inner journey, the challenges, and how she has overcome them. We speak about the benefits of meditation, the female cycle, how it influences us and our energy, and what we can do to be more aligned with it. From today's episode, you will learn why a journey outside becomes often an inner journey, how stillness can make you happy, how to listen to your body, how to be true to yourself, why it's important to spend time alone, why you cannot escape your feelings, and how you can heal with Theta healing. I really hope you enjoy this episode. Welcome everyone back on the show, the Happiness Safari podcast. And today I'm so happy to talk to Lisa, all the way from Portugal. How are you today?
Hi, I'm very good. We had quite some rain the last days, which we prayed for. So we're pretty happy, even though the weather is not so sunshiny bright as usual.
Yeah. Oh, wow. But there you're diving already in, like to be grateful for the rain is something I guess we often are not. And people actually, in so many places in the world are praying for rain, and we are complaining while we have it. So I think it's good to appreciate that. Lisa, would you like to tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and what you do?
For sure. As you already said, my name is Lisa. Originally, I come from Germany. I grew up as I would say, pretty basic story, like married parents, then they get divorced, and you go to all these phases. I decided to study psychology, which I didn't finish because it was very dry. And I, after I think 3 semesters, I found for me like I need like practical work. I need to, not touch someone, but I need the contact. So I decided to go for, I think it's kindergarten teacher, something like this. Yeah. And I found an amazing place where I did my, education portion of it. And I worked there for a lot of years and I was pretty happy with it. But still, even though the company I worked for was really top of the notch, they were so supportive. We got a raise every year. They asked us at least once every half year if we're happy, if we need something to be more happy in our job. There was something missing for me. And after a while, I thought, okay, maybe it's the work-life balance. Maybe I work too much and I don't have enough life left over. So me and my husband, we decided to quit our jobs and go. I don't know if you ever had this feeling when you were young and you were like, one day I will pack my stuff and I will go. So we had this and we did. We just packed a backpack. We took a tent and our 2 dogs and we went out of the door and we decided to go to Sweden, which was a really funny decision because we were like, okay, where haven't we been already? And we said, okay, let's go to Sweden because we've never been there. We walked to Sweden with 2 dogs, sleeping in a tent.
That's crazy. You told me before that you actually walked to Sweden. So I just want to Repeat that.
Yeah. I mean, you cannot walk all the way because from Germany there is ocean in between. But we walked to all of Germany and a bit of Denmark. And then we took the ferry to Sweden. And it was amazing, really, all the way. And I have to say, for me, Germany is kind of love-hate relationship. And in this time, I really found out that Germany has a lot of really nice, helpful people who are so open-hearted and they give you with full hands. We had so many people we met on the way who just gave us food or who tried to support us in every other way. And it really felt nice to connect to my home, to the country I come from in this kind of way. Then we have been to Sweden. It was a pretty cold winter. We had minus 20 degrees. Luckily, we had a friend who brought a caravan for us to Sweden, and we moved in there. And we did a thing. It's called woofing, where you can live at a place when you help the people there. So you get food, and you can be there. I think somewhere it's called work away. In Sweden, it's called woofing. And we did that. And after the winter, we decided, okay, we go back to Germany and try a bit whatever is going on there. And we came back. And I went to my old job and I said, hey, if you need me, I can work for some months. And I did. And it felt pretty good. Actually, all the time, it felt pretty good. It didn't really matter what I did. It felt pretty good. But it wasn't all, All the time, I was still struggling here and there. As a woman, you have your cycle, you have your hormones who are sometimes giving you a bit of trouble, let's say it like this. And as I grew up I don't know, in Germany, for me, I never learned how to work with my hormones or to go with my cycle or anything like that at all. It was I came to a specific age. So I went to the doctor, I got the pill, and that's basically it. That's all I was told about how to be a woman, basically, with this hormone stuff. And when we started our journey, I started my own journey inside as well, because I got out of the pill, not to get a baby, but to get rid of hormones like the ones you just take. And I, after some months, I already felt that there is a lot happening in me, which I cannot really, I would not say handle, because I handled it, but it was I was really distracted by it. And I was like, what's happening? Why do I feel weird now? And I had no one to guide me through all this woman cycle. Yeah, maybe it's a secret or something, because I was left alone with it. So I started to do my own research while I was on the journey. I found some steps for me. Not all of them worked, but I found some. And while we were in Germany, I started to do yoga and to do meditation stuff to help myself to cope with the up and down of my cycle. And it actually helped. I was pretty amazed by that, because I was like, yeah, but I'm just basically sitting still. Why should it do something to my hormones or to how I feel? Because I used to work for stuff, really working on things. And I was amazed by how sitting still and find stillness inside yourself can help you achieve more calmness inside you, and maybe a bit more happiness even.
How do you think it did help you? Do you know now? What is this?
Yeah, I know. One is that meditation or like even the attempt to meditate, even if you don't feel you succeed, you're actually meditating. And this has a lot of benefits to your physical body, even like your heartbeat goes down, blood pressure goes down. There is a release of positive hormones, which happens during meditation. And I think this is the first thing that helped me. And the second thing is, while you try to meditate, or when I try to meditate, usually I have a really loud monkey mind. I don't know if you know it, but for me, I sit still. Maybe I close my eyes, and in that split second, my brain goes, oh, we wanted to do laundry. We didn't do that. Oh, I wanted to talk to you about something, and it bubbles and bubbles and bubbles. And it goes on and on and on. And the first few times I sat there and I was like, what's happening here? This is so weird. But with the thought of, I really want to try it, I learned to accept that this is happening right now. So I sat there and I was like, okay, mind, you can just let everything go. And I tried to watch every thought like a cloud, which is like, sometimes clouds are between you and the sun for a bit more, or they pass you really fast. So I try to take it like this. So some thoughts, they really sticked. And I was just watching them like, okay, this is a thought. Maybe sometimes I even try to see the words in front of me, like written. So they were not connected to me that much anymore. And then I could erase it. Like I did it in my mind, little mind game. Like, okay, there is this word. Maybe we take anger. I was angry, so I took anger. I wrote it in my head, and then I took the eraser and I erased it.
Wow.
And with these kind of mind games, I started to do stuff. And after a while, I found out that I could do this even if I'm not meditating. I can go back to this kind of state of mind. I could go back to, okay, I feel angry now. This is okay. I can accept it. This is how I feel now. But I don't have to hold it, like I have to stay angry because like there was happening something really unfair to me. I could like, angry, this is okay. But now I can let it go, at least a bit.
Yeah.
It's not working all the time, but I try. And the longer you do it, it's really working, I think.
But would you say then with meditation, it helped you to become, I guess, like to deal more with your negative emotions and to become more like calm and peaceful, and then that affected your cycle in a positive way as well? Yes. Yeah. Okay.
There was another point. For me, it was really hard to take time for myself. I was used to do all the time something. Like a little bit of cleaning, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And to take time for me, just for myself, like really private time, was quite hard. Because I always judged, I was like, no, you still have to do a lot of stuff. And meditation gave me a reason to take time just for myself. I could justify it kind of like I could justify sport. I had a reason to take time for myself. And this, like, let's say 20 minutes a day or 30 minutes or only 15, it was like a really tiny pause to get more energy just for myself and to have a moment to breathe deep, to not think about someone else, to just be there for me. And I think this was a game changer for my cycle as well, because I found out after, I think, 6 or 7 months, I found out that if I allow myself to rest, like let's say one day before my period starts and the day of my period, if I allow myself to rest on these 2 days, I have a lot more power and I am a lot more calm. And my anger and my all these, I don't want to call it negative emotions, because they're not. They're actually protecting me to do more than I can. But I don't have any other word now, so I would just call them negative. All these 2 days off of everything, I can handle them. They're not affecting my life anymore.
Wow.
And yeah.
I think that's very inspiring, actually, because I feel that, as you said, like nobody's teaching you how to deal with your cycle as a woman. And nobody teaches you that in school. I think our parents, they didn't really know better. And it was the same for me when I was like a teenager. So my mother even told me like, just get on birth control, and then you will be fine, basically, and you don't have to deal with anything. And when I got off birth control for the same reason as you, to kind of just not take hormones for like so many years, also everything changed, and I was suffering with like really bad cramps as well. Again, like it's not much you find actually, kind of, but then if you research, like, I mean, okay, how many things can actually influence your cycle, but what it really is what would help, instead of taking painkillers, or hot water bottle helps, but what is actually the cause and the root, and what to do with that. And I actually listened to a very interesting podcast where a woman talked about how like women are also connected to the moon cycle. And actually, if you have a natural cycle, often it's kind of in the same rhythm as the moon, and how we are functioning. And actually, we have these different phases. Actually, after like our period, then we have a very productive phase. So as you say, then you have a lot of energy, and we kind of like blossom and shine. And it's maybe also the phase where you would attract, man, if you're single, something you feel like so full of energy, and you have new ideas and all of that. And there's these different stages, but actually right before and during the cycle is actually the time for us to rest. But then in our modern world, like it's not really accepted to rest, or it's like, if women say, oh, but I'm like, suffering from like pain and I just want to lie in bed, I feel like they're not even taken serious. I experienced that in my company I worked before. You say like taking the time to rest and take the time for yourself. And then if you do that and you allow yourself to do that, actually you have so much more energy for the rest of the month, when you can actually do all these great things. But to know that you don't have to function all the time, I think, wow, like thank you for sharing that. And then I know
I think for me there's not enough sharing of these parts of our let's say we have a really big femininity community thing going on, like where we all these strong female power women who achieve a lot in jobs and who are always like really powering through. And I think this is really great. I don't want to judge it or something. I just want to add something to it. There's even more, and we don't have to be strong as men. We don't have to power through everything. I think there is a power in how we are. Like we have power in our cycle. We have power during period. We have, this is actually for me, this is always the days I call don't fuck with me days. Because in these days, you cannot make me do anything. I am really strict about if I go in a direction which is not right for me in these days when I'm on my period, I can't. I would just get very angry. If you ask me in spring, like you said, after the period, when we blossom up again, I can bend and I can be very flexible and I can do stuff which I'm not really comfortable with because I have another energy kind of. So after I found out about this, you can actually use it. Because if you have to have, let's say, I would not say a job interview because that's usually going really bad on these days, but maybe you need to talk with someone about your boundaries, about to respect your boundaries or to respect you more. I actually think these days when you're on your period, like let's call them dragon days or whatever, are perfect for it. Because you will not do any compromises. You will be there just for yourself. and you be very true. You know, you can be like, this is nothing to discuss. This is just, I tell you how I feel about it. And in other moments of your cycle, you might be more understanding for the other side, or you will bend, or you will be like, okay, no, you're right. You will back up. But if you have to be really powerful and really like fearless, I think these are the days. And even if you cry during this conversation, it doesn't matter, because you will be at the same time a bit angry and you have a lot of power. So I think it's actually empowering to have this.
Yeah, as you say, being very truthful, like to yourself, and I guess then to others as well. So you told me before the interview that actually I know your journey continued after that. So I want to hear more about how it continued on the outside and on the inside as well when you came back to Germany.
So we have been back in Germany, and I started working again, kind of. And but we quickly found out that this is not, we cannot just go back to what we've done before. So we started our journey in our bus. Like, we have a really old, it's a green bus, a really big one. And we moved in there, and we started traveling through Europe. So like France and Spain, Portugal. And we even went to Morocco for, I think, 2 months or something, or 1 month and a bit. And it was quite fun. We've been traveling for 5 years, up and down to all Europe, and always kind of going back to Germany for some months and visiting everyone. And I really enjoyed it. But after we traveled for almost 1 year, I felt something is missing. So I thought, I'm missing a job. I want to feel needed, kind of, you know. I want to have a purpose in life. So what I learned is your purpose is to go to work, basically, to earn money. And you know, like, what is your purpose in life? What do you learn? You go to school, you graduate, you go to study something or something else, and then you go to work. So what is your purpose in life? You go to work. You have some free time, but basically more than your free time is you go to work. So I thought, maybe this is missing. I have to be useful again. I have to be a positive member of society or something. And I actually made the perfect deal, which I'm still amazed that it happened. I made a very useful contract with my company where I worked before, like the kindergarten I worked in. So I had a contract where I go only to work 65 days a year. So double the amount of your holidays, I went to work. And these days, it was always during holidays, I went to work in the kindergarten. So my colleagues could go off to have free time. Yeah. So I worked, let's say, two weeks in a row. Then I had 6 weeks free time, because this is the usual, you know, the switch in Germany. It's the switch between holidays and usual school days. It's always kind of 2 weeks, 6 weeks, or 2 weeks, 8 weeks, something like this. So my husband still traveled. I traveled with him, but every other month or so, I flew back to Germany and I worked for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. And I loved it. Yeah.
But then, may I just go back and ask quickly, but how did you sustain yourself for 5 years traveling? Did you do the woofing kind of thing the entire time, or?
Oh, no, sorry. This is, we did woofing only in Sweden. It actually didn't work out that good. We had a really bad experience, which is still okay, because it needed to be like this. And we started traveling again. And after 1 year of traveling, I decided to go back to work, like I just told you. So this is, I basically did this all the 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I flew back and forth. And, but it didn't really matter. Like, yeah, I liked work. Really, I loved it. And I loved my travel life. I visited amazing places. We've been basically alone on the most beautiful beaches, sometimes for a week or more, with 2 dogs, just hanging out the beach or going to surf. Or yeah, it was pretty amazing, really. And if I see the picture, I get this feeling back, like my heart beats a bit more, and I feel like I'm so blessed to have had these opportunities, to have this much of peace and freedom. And on the same time, it gave me the opportunity to work on my inside. Because usually we get up in the morning, let's say it's Monday, so we get up in the morning, we go to work, we come home late, we eat something, dinner or something, and then we watch a series and we go to bed. We do this every day, Monday to Friday. Then it's Saturday. Usually you do something like laundry and you clean your apartment, you meet your friends. On Sunday, you're exhausted and you just sleep. On Monday, you go back to work. For me, when I was in this kind of routine, I had no time at all to start working on
your inner journey.
I couldn't do all my inner jobs.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't really clean up in myself because I'd had no time, because they're really precious to me, or my family, because this is really important, you know. It makes my heart go really bright and I love it. And I had to earn money, so I went to work. But in between, there's basically not a lot of time to start working on yourself. And when I started to have a lot of free time, because I changed to have more free time than I do work, I started to work on myself. And at first, it wasn't really fun, to be honest. Because I used to lock up everything that didn't felt right, and I didn't take care of, because I couldn't do it in between the job and in between like meeting my family or something. I couldn't really start digging or start taking care of my feelings, which I couldn't really cope with, you know?
Yeah.
So when I started, I found out there's really a lot I have to take care of. And I felt really broken, actually. I felt exhausted. I felt, I don't know, it was really weird. I was in an amazing place. I had a loving husband next to me. I had my dogs who are, I don't know, they're just really, really good dogs. I had this amazing life, and I was sad. And I didn't know why. I felt sad. I was sitting there on the beautiful beach with the most amazing sunset you can ever imagine. And I was sad. And I couldn't figure out why. And I was like, I'm broken. There's something, maybe a screw went loose, you know, or lost it even. I don't know. I was really like, and I was sitting there and I said to my husband, like, there's something wrong with me and I don't know what it is, but I cannot enjoy it. I'm really sad. And then I started digging. Like, I really wanted to find out what is happening. You know, why can I not just enjoy? Why can I not be happy? Because
I really want to hear more about the digging, but I also want to just emphasize that I think a lot of people also here can relate. That, like what you said, like you feel there's a screw loose, or there's something wrong with you, or, you know, like, why can't you be happy? I feel like, that feeling probably, I had that myself, and I'm pretty sure everybody has that at some point. in their lives. And I mean, sometimes we have a reason for it, but even sometimes when we are in the most beautiful place and life seems to be perfect, you know, it can be like that. Because just because everything on the outside is fine, it doesn't mean like, you know, everything in the inside is actually fine. And I guess until we are doing, I mean, that digging and that kind of, you know, internal job you said, or like inside job, I guess until that moment, like these kind of doubts or thoughts, they can come up, and these feelings of not, you know, being happy with everything you have. So I think when you said you thought, you know, you're like crazy or something is wrong with you, I just want to say to everybody who's listening, I feel like if you feel that way, you're definitely not alone. Because I'm like, I mean, I heard it from so many people, but I'm also 100% sure that we all have that. And whenever you have these thoughts, it's not just about you, and it's not whatever it is. Like, it's never just you, and it's nothing wrong with you. It's just very human to have these thoughts and feelings. So, but yeah, please continue and tell us what you did.
Thank you for saying that, because I think if you told me in this moment, hey, sweetheart, it's perfectly fine that you feel that way. It's not good, but it's normal. I would have felt a lot better, I think. But in this time, I haven't had really, let's say, something like a sisterhood or a tribe or something. I had my family, yes, but sometimes you need someone who is not related to you to give you, let's say, a push or some input to help you to start to find out what is where's the root. And for me, it took me actually a very long time, which from the point now, it's a bit sad. I know I had to go this way. I'm not doubting any second of it, but it's a bit sad that this is a topic you should not talk about. You know, like, or right now we can talk about depression. You know, this is very common. We can all say, oh, I have depression. But the reaction to it is usually take pills or go see a psychiatrist. Which is a good way for some people, but for me it wasn't. It really wasn't. I needed something with a bit more heart. I needed something with more feeling. I studied psychology. I know what I'm talking about. I don't want to be analyzed. I don't want to just go over and over and over everything I experience in my life again and again. This is not helping me, because I tried. Yeah. I actually tried therapy with more than one therapist. It didn't work out because this is not the way I needed to go. I needed to go a way of feeling. I really needed to feel. So basically, I started with that. I sat down and I was like, okay, I think I feel sad. But is it really sadness? Or is it maybe anger? Or is it exhausting? Or is it, you know, like really find out what is the feeling I'm really feeling? Because sometimes, or at least it was for me, I couldn't really say what I was feeling. It was just not right. You know, you sit there and something is not right, but you cannot really point out what your feeling is. So I started with that. And I have to say, I did it for a long time. I tried to figure it out myself. I tried to, just keep going, and it got worse, and then it got better, and it got worse again. And finally, I decided this is not, like, I cannot go with a psychiatrist or something like this. I need something else. And I find someone who could help me in a very, very, very different way than what I used to be told, you know. This took me about, I think, maybe 3 years. 3 years of struggling, enjoying life to the fullest. At the same time, I think this was the weirdest point that I was still like, I was laughing. I was enjoying everything. I was laying in the sun. I was swimming in the ocean. I was hiking to Scotland. And I think this one, actually, I think I want to tell you this because this was one of the most precious moments. After a while, when we were traveling, and we did spend like basically 24/7 together, all day, every second, we really needed time for ourselves, which has nothing to do with our feelings. It's more about the usual daily life of a married couple is you both go to work, so you don't see each other for the whole day, and then you see each other at night and for the weekend. We saw each other every day, all day long, for, I think, 9 months. And then we decided maybe we need some time alone. And it was one of the best decisions ever. And we started doing this regularly, let's say it like this. These regular alone times was I went to Scotland to hike on my own, like fully alone. There's a really nice track. It is called, I don't know right now. I will remember it. West Highland Way. It's called the West Highland Way. And I went there alone, and I was really proud, like, yeah, I would go on my own adventure, just alone. I found out that being alone really makes you reflect all of what is going inside, is going on in you, because there's no one you can blame for what you feel, or there's no one to say like, oh, if you hadn't wake me up so early this morning, I would have I would feel even better, because it's only you. So you really feel like, okay, this is all me. There is no one going on my nerves, or there's no one pressuring me or whatever. And so I walked there, and I was amazing, because I was hiking 30 kilometers, a huge backpack.
Wow.
And yeah. And I destroyed my feet completely. I had like blisters, and I lost a toenail. And I lost, I think, almost 10 kilos, which is a lot, because I don't have a lot to lose. So it was really a lot. Just because I was running from myself, basically. I found out later I was going so fast because I tried to escape my feelings, which you obviously cannot, because everywhere you go, you take yourself with you. So yeah, didn't work out that well on this trip. This opened my eyes really widely. And this was, I think, the moment where I decided I have to go and find help for me. Which is not the usual way everyone goes, to therapy or something. And I found someone, and she offered something which is called Theta healing. I don't know if you know it.
I heard of it, but maybe you explain it briefly for everybody who's listening. So
I try to not say something wrong, okay? So this is what I remember. So we have specific kind of brain waves, and one of it is, if we go to sleep, like the moment before, I think, relaxed, our brain is in theta. The waves are called theta waves. So theta healing is trying to help you to reprogram your brain while you are in this kind of mental state. So you basically try to deeply relax, and your therapist is trying to help you to reprogram your brain. So for me, I had and this is basically, you go there and you start talking. This is basic therapy session. But instead of just repeating and trying to figure out how to solve the things, you can erase stuff. I will make a very personal example. I had really troubles with my mother. I can say that because she cannot speak English, so she will never hear that, basically. She knows, but like this part, she maybe doesn't know. So she knows how to trigger. She knows a few points where she can really, you know what a trigger is, right? This is a point of which really touches a deep wound in yourself. And if someone says something about this trigger point, you really can be very angry really quickly, or you can be very sad really quickly. So my mother knew a lot of these trigger points, of course, because I grew up with her. So yeah, she knows. But she uses them, not purposely, but unconsciously, because you learned to do it. And it's like, she doesn't really have another way to interact. So she uses that. And so I went to this Theta healing session, and this was one of my key points. I wanted to be clear, my relationship to her, not our relationship, but mine to her. This is very important because it's just about me. So I wanted to change something about me in this relationship. So I went there. I had a really long talk. And then we had this session, and she erased some, I think you can say, maybe believing sentences. This is something you've been taught to believe.
I would say negative beliefs. Yeah.
Maybe they're negative. They can also be positive ones. But it's like you have these sentences in your mind because someone told you, or society told you, how to do stuff, or how to be, or how to
like
feel.
You can never be rich and happy at the same time.
Yeah, something like this. Or you have to be thin to get a man. This as well. This is, I know a lot of people who got this sentence from their parents. Basically, you have to look a certain way to be happy. You have to
get a certain job to be happy. Yeah,
exactly. So I went there. We did a lot of hard work, which basically was me just sitting there really relaxed after the talking part. And I think 1 week after the session, I met with my mother to have lunch. And I actually remember it like it was yesterday, or like it was a movie I saw yesterday, because I was sitting there with her. And after, I think, half an hour, she started using the trigger points. And I was sitting there, and nothing happened. And I was just really looking at her and still smiling, like not laughing about her, but still smiling, being very positive and not reacting. And I think for her, it was really hard. I almost felt sorry for her because it didn't function anymore. And she was really like pressing the button, and there was no reaction. And she was like, really, you could almost see her face going like, what is happening here? And I was sitting there, and nothing, like there was no hard feelings. There was no sadness anymore. No anger came, even though she really tried.
Wow.
And actually it was very confusing because if you always react a certain way and suddenly there is no reaction, you don't know what to do. So
how did your relationship to your mother or with your mother change? Because to your mother, obviously, because you didn't feel triggered anymore, but with your mother, how did that change or continued?
So, like, really, actually, only my relationship to my mother changed.
Okay.
Because it made it possible for me to call her and to write her messages and to be connected to her again. Because before that, I always had like, oh no, if I call her, she will say this and that, and I will get very angry. Oh no, if I will tell her this, then she will say that, and then I will get very angry or sad or something. So it really changed the way how I can have contact with her.
Yeah.
Our relationship is still not perfect.
Okay. Can I just say one thing? I mean, thank you so much for sharing. This is so cool, actually. So I'll definitely put that in the show notes if people want to look it up and find somebody to try theta healing. What I'm interested in is like, have you ever asked yourself why your mother is trying to push your buttons? You said, I mean, what's the purpose? What is she getting out of it by doing it?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Like, to understand that, you basically kind of have to know how my mother grew up. So I think for a lot of people in my age, it is the same. So my mother grew up as a child of parents who survived the war. So their parents were really troubled. They suffered a lot during war, and they didn't do any healing. So all their fears and all their anger about what they went through, they pushed it to their children. And my mother didn't have a really nice childhood, and she flew out of the childhood into marriage with my father, who didn't have a really nice childhood himself, I think, in some ways. And both didn't do any healing. They didn't do any, or at least no inner work that really worked out, let's say like this. And they had really troubles to create a home which is nurturing and safe and warm for their children. And it's not their fault. Or let's say it's not their fault that they grew up like this. And they are not reflective like the next generation, like me and partly my sisters, but they a bit older than I am. So I think with my generation, it started that people started to reflect, like they were asking why do I feel that way? Or why did that happen? Or why is he treating me like this? Or she, like my mother or my father? And not just accepting it. Like, yeah, this is how you got treated by your parents, I was threatened by my parents like this as well. So this is the right way to do it. My generation, or the next generation does it even more, is asking questions.
Yeah,
but why? Or is it really right to do that? Is there another way to do that? We get really open-minded, and I think it has something to do with war as well, because we didn't experience it. But like my grandparents did, and they gave it to my parents. And then I am the first generation who is not really affected by it anymore.
You said that she wouldn't like reflect. And I mean, obviously about like, I agree with like that generations, like after the war, and, they grew up in like under such different circumstances where they also had to deal with other things, and it wasn't really the time maybe to actually reflect and look inwards as we do it now. But then I was wondering if what kind of purpose your mother has to kind of trigger you, like if that's her way even to show you that she loves you, or if that's a way to connect with you, if that's a way that she is needed, or is it, is there like a higher purpose, like a deeper reason why she does it? Because obviously she does it, you said, like subconsciously.
I think she is really used to live in the victim role. Like all her life, she was the victim, first of her parents, and then the marriage was like this. And then even after marriage, she was always kind of the victim. And this is actually the trigger points she uses, is like she is very poor, not in financially, but like, oh, I'm suffering so much. You need to help me. This is what you always use, kind of, And this is her way to get me to help her, or to get positive energy from me, to get my attention, is always about how poorly she feels, or how sad her life is. And this is her way of doing it. This is with everyone. Her way to get attention is always over this victim role kind of thing.
Yeah. I guess now you can
see what she learned.
That it's not about you, but it is about her, right?
Yes. It is. But for me, it's always two people you need for this kind of game,
And you took yourself out of the equation.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. If you erase yourself out of it, then there's nothing happening anymore, because you always need the two partners for it. And I think this is one of the really important things you have to learn in life. It's not your fault, but you are the one who can change it always. Like if you have a bad relationship, it's not your fault, but you can change it. If you have a bad connection with someone, it's not your fault, but you can change it. You don't have to stick to it. You don't have to be in this position. There's always a way you can find out. Yeah. At least I think so. I don't want to force it to anyone, But for me, in every situation, I felt pressured or bad, or I have a really simple one. If you go shopping, like grocery shopping, you want to buy, let's say, buttermilk and bread, and you're really in a hurry, and then you come to the checkout line, and then you get really frustrated. If you take a moment and reflect, like, why does it feel that way right now? Why do I feel frustrated? You really come back to the point that you are the one who is in a hurry. Your feeling is because of your action, kind of. You know what I mean? Yeah. And in this moment, the only thing you can do is really take a deep breath and accept the thing that you cannot change. You cannot make the people hurry up more. You cannot make everyone move faster. So to change the way how you're feeling about the situation is really to take a deep breath and say, I cannot change it. I just have to accept it. And in the moment you accept it, the bad feeling is gone, because there's nothing you can be mad about it anymore.
Yeah. So you're saying, we cannot change the situation, but what you can always change is how you feel about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
At least we can try.
Yeah.
I'm always I'm really like, I've been in really dark places with my mind and my feelings. And I know that sometimes the hole you're in, like the dark, deep hole, is so deep and dark that you cannot change it on your own, because you're already so deep in that you basically can't see the light anymore. And I know for these people, or at least for me, if someone just said me, you cannot change the situation, but you can change how you feel about it, I might have slapped that one in the face, because I would have been really angry. Because in this moment, when you're like so deep in, you might not be able to change it yourself. but you can find someone who give you a hand to change it. It's not someone, no one can do it for you. Don't get me wrong. There's no one who can just take the magic wand and make like zimzalabim and you're free. This will not happen. But you can find a person who can give you a hand and say, you know, you might not see the light. I can see it. I can just show you the direction. You have to walk on your own, but I can show you the direction. At least I think so.
Definitely. I totally agree. And I mean, I guess that's why we're speaking to each other and why, I'm having this podcast to tell people, if you are in a dark place, wherever you are, there is a kind of guiding hand, or there's always somebody who can at least help you, support you along the way, and you don't have to like walk it all by yourself. So just to come to the end of your happiness story. So I guess at some point you get back together with your husband, and then you continue traveling.
Oh, we never split.
No, I know. I mean, I just back together physically after Scotland. And and you continued your travel journey, and you continued your inward journey, and now you ended up at least for now in Portugal, and so where are you now?
To make it kind of quick, short, and really, really happily, we ended up in Portugal, and we live in an off-grid farm now. So we have our own water supply, we have our solar system, we grow our own veggies, and we have our chickens who give us some eggs, and they really freely give it. I want to say that because it's really important to me. They don't want to sit on them. I don't shush them away. They lay their eggs and then they go away so I can take them. Yeah, this is where we are right now. And it is really interesting because at the same time we decided to settle again on a very, like in a really open way, because we live in nature. We have no neighbors. We don't even have a street name. Like we really are out. At the same time, my inner journey started to settle, kind of. So we started building a teeny tiny house, which is like 3 to 4 meters. So it's really small. And I started to become a yoga teacher. Then we built some more stuff, and we have a big garden now, and I began to learn Reiki, and I gave it to myself, and I gave it to my animals, and we are living here, and it's such a blessed life, and like we are free to create every day like we want it to be. I mean, there are strings attached. If you're self-sustained, you have to go to work in the garden, you know, because if you don't go, there will be no veggies to eat. But it is a very rewarding kind of work. And for me, it's always kind of meditation. If I go to cut back trees, I really have to see the tree in front of me, which branches he can lose or not. If I go to make a new field for, let's say, cabbages or something, we have winter now, so it's cabbage time. I really have to, you know, feel the ground. Is it without stones, or how can I do it without hurting the surface of the ground, because I don't want to dig in there, because this will destroy all the teeny tiny animals living there. And it's always kind of meditational, and to live like this, really in nature, to be connected to the nature in this kind of way, is really amazing. It is like really I wake up when the sun comes up. The bad side of it is I get tired when the sun goes down as well, which is pretty early in winter. But yeah, it is really, it feels right for me. It feels really right. Digging in the dirt and being outside.
Yeah, I guess it sounds wonderful. It sounds like, going back to the roots, and especially, if you've been traveling kind of around the world and then finding a place where, you're just happy. And I guess that can be something else and different for everyone. But I think in general, also being more connected to nature is something we all kind of have to go back to, because that's also what I find. Like, I find myself to be the happiest when I am in nature. And it's crazy when you're traveling and then often like there are so many cities and so much noise and, so much concrete, and like, oh, I just want to get out of here. And I cannot wait to go back to Portugal as well, because it's such a beautiful place. Yeah. Wow. Thank you for sharing your story. At the end, I always have
thank
to
you
say,
for letting me share my story.
Yeah. That was a very interesting story. I think we can do 3 more podcasts probably. One, I want to know more about speak more about the cycle. And secondly, I want to hear how you actually managed to travel for 5 years in a bus, being 24/7 together, because I think that's very inspirational for couples. And and the third one is actually about your life now and how you sustain yourself. So maybe we have to do.
Oh, you're very welcome to come back to me again. I would love to.
Yeah. So people, if you're hearing this or seeing this, comment in the show notes if you want to hear more of one of these topics, then I'm going to do you again. But for today, I'm asking you the same 3 questions I ask everybody. The first one is, what does happiness mean to you?
Wow. You're doing okay, ask this question and answer it quickly. What does happiness? That's a really tricky one. I would say the really base, it's necessary. Not every day, but it's necessary to have it in your life. Happiness. Maybe I go like this.
Very good. And what do you do to be happy?
I take care of myself.
And what was the happiest moment in your life?
Whoa. The happiest moment in my life. Can't choose. I'm sorry. I cannot. I cannot choose. This one actually, I really cannot choose.
There's no judge. The other memories, they won't be mad at you because they won't know. I mean, nobody will know. So
no, I know.
Pick the first which come to your mind.
I think the happiest moment of my life was when I first put my foot on this piece of land, actually. Really, it wasn't even ours. We were here with people who want to sell it. And we were actually kind of mad because it was far more out than we thought it would be. And we were like, okay, let's have a look, because we're here now. And the moment I crossed the border to this land was magic.
Oh.
And this made me, there was a really special feeling inside. It might not be only happiness, but it was magic, real magic happening. Maybe this was the happiest moment of my life.
Wow. Oh, thank you for sharing. Is there any book you read
having me.
you would like to recommend to the listeners?
It was the book I cried and laughed the most, actually. And I know the German title. I have to say it in German because I don't think it is in English available. And the German title is Was man von hier aus sehen kann.
Okay. I will look it up. I will put it in the show notes. And maybe there's an English translation.
It's really...
And otherwise, we have some German listeners for sure. So, sorry.
Yeah, I think so too. This book actually really changed how I see myself a lot. And it's not even meant to be like this. This is not, a self-development book or something. It's a novel or something like this. And it was really like, whoa. Yeah. It's a really good one.
Wow, nice. Thank you so much. Well, Lisa, it was lovely talking to you. Thank you so much for all these cool stories, and wish you all the best of luck and your magic piece of land where you are. And yeah, eventually we talk soon.
Yeah, thank you. Enjoy your evening, and I hope we see each other soon.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. I think the story is so inspiring and so many things we can learn from it. Thank you, Lisa, again for sharing. And if you want to get in touch with her, I put the links in the show notes. You can find her on Facebook, Instagram, and she has a website as well. And yeah, also if you want to get in touch with me, you know I always want to know what your biggest insights were from this episode. So please share on Instagram at Nadine Anne Yoga under today's post and let me know what you learned from this episode and what you're taking away from yourself. And I wish you a wonderful day wherever in the world you are. Love and namaste.